Hello, my dear students. There is Mr. Mahmoud with you again. How are you? Today's science lesson is How do animals reproduce? And it's part 2. Since we studied part 1 the last time, we're gonna revise it. Then we'll keep going in this lesson. So pay attention, please.
Do you remember what you were like as a baby? You couldn't walk, or talk, or do anything without help. Every animal species, including humans, goes through stages of growing and changing. These stages are known as a life cycle. An animal's life cycle includes birth, growth, maturity, also known as adulthood, and reproduction, giving birth to young. Each animal species has its own life cycle. You're about to discover the life cycles of all kinds of animals. See if you can figure out the life cycle of the Florida panther. Drag each description to the stage that matches it.
So for first picture, a young panther hunts with its mother. Let's try this in this picture. It's wrong. So let's try it here. That's right. Very good. Number 2, an adult panther hunts alone, preying on deer and wild hogs. Let's try this here. It's wrong. Let's try this here. It's wrong as well. Let's try it here. Yeah, perfect. Then a female panther has 1 to 4 kittens per litter. Let's try it here. It's right. A panther kitten weighed about a pound when it's born. Of course, it's here.
Well done. The images you've sorted include birth, growth, maturity, and reproduction, giving birth to young. How are Florida panthers and white-tailed deer alike? They're alike in many ways. They have similar life cycles, too. Both are mammals. And like most mammals, the babies develop inside their mother. Florida panther babies and white-tailed deer babies are born live. Scientists observe animals in the wild and gather information about each species' life cycle. Click each picture to find out more about the life cycle of the white-tailed deer.
So we have life cycle for each animal. Let's know what is the life cycle for white-tailed deer.
This newborn white-tailed deer weighs about as much as a newborn human. The newborn deer, or fawn, stands up soon after she's born. By the time she is 6 weeks old, the deer no longer depends on her mother for food. By the time she is 2 years old, the white-tailed deer finds a mate and can have her own babies.
Wow.
This newborn white-tailed deer weighs about as much as a newborn human.
So the life cycle here start with newborn deer and end in this stage it's deer and mate. So when they get married, they can produce a newborn.
Not all animals are born live. Animals such as birds, reptiles, and many kinds of fish hatch from eggs. Do egg-laying animal species have life cycles? Of course they do. Let's look at the life cycle of this chicken. Click the play button to learn about the life cycle of a chicken. An egg develops inside a hen, a female chicken. If the egg is fertilized, it develops into an embryo. An embryo takes 21 days to develop inside the egg. The hen sits on the egg to keep it warm. This is called incubation. The egg's hard shell protects the embryo inside. After 3 weeks, the baby chick pecks until its shell cracks. A newborn chick can walk around and eat right away. Hens and roosters, adult chickens, find mates and reproduce. And the life cycle begins again. Animals born live and animals hatched from eggs go through similar life cycles. The animal is born, it grows bigger, it reaches maturity, adulthood, and it reproduces, has young. There are differences, though. Some animals, like chickens, can take care of themselves from the moment they hatch. Others, like humans, are completely helpless as newborns and rely on adults to take care of them, just as you did. Can you figure out which of these animals are born live and which hatch from eggs? Drag each photo to the correct category. Great job! As you can see, it's not always easy to tell which animals are born live and which are hatched from an egg simply by looking at them as an adult. That's one reason why scientists study animals. You may have noticed that mammal babies often look a lot like their parents. But young butterflies don't look anything like the adults. At each stage in its life cycle, a butterfly looks completely different. This amazing process of changing from one form to another is called metamorphosis. When each stage is completely different from the stage before and after it, the process is called complete metamorphosis. Click the play button to see a video of the complete metamorphosis of a monarch butterfly. The female butterfly lays an egg on a leaf. After about 5 days, a caterpillar hatches from the egg. The caterpillar is called a larva. The larva eats huge amounts of milkweed leaves. The caterpillar becomes a pupa. A chrysalis forms around it. The pupa remains inside the chrysalis for about 2 weeks. The adult butterfly climbs out of its chrysalis, and it dries its wet wings in the sun. If the butterfly finds a mate, its young will develop in exactly the same way. A complete metamorphosis. A grasshopper's life cycle is called an incomplete metamorphosis. Incomplete means unfinished, not complete. You'll see there's no larva. There's no pupa either. Young grasshoppers look like tiny adults. Click the picture to learn more details. The female grasshopper lays her eggs in the soil. A tiny grasshopper hatches. It's called a nymph. A hard covering called an exoskeleton protects the nymph. As the nymph grows, the exoskeleton is too small, like clothes you've outgrown. The nymph sheds the exoskeleton. This process is called molting. The adult grasshopper looks for a mate, and the life cycle begins again. Can you figure out how the life cycles of grasshoppers and butterflies are alike? Grasshoppers lay eggs, and so do butterflies. Both insects end up as adults. But the middle stages of their life cycles are different. Butterflies go through complete metamorphosis, all 4 stages. Grasshoppers change through incomplete metamorphosis. During their middle stages, they look more like tiny adults, each a little larger than the one before it. Drag the labels underneath the correct pictures. You may use some labels more than once. You got it. Both species have similar life cycles, but some stages are different. By closely studying these species, scientists are able to identify these similarities and the differences. You've learned quite a bit about the life cycles of the monarch butterfly and the white-tailed deer. See if you can show what you know. Suppose a friend asked you to tell how these life cycles are the same and how they're different. Here's a hint. Think of the stages that each animal goes through. Type your answer in the box, then click OK. You've learned a lot about the life cycles of different animals. Let's take a quick look at the main points you've covered. All animals go through stages from birth to death. Some animals give birth to live young. Some lay eggs. Some animals change form at each stage. This process is called metamorphosis. Metamorphosis may be complete. Each stage looks different from the stage before. Or metamorphosis may be incomplete. Some stages are larger versions of the stages before. Scientists observe life cycles to figure out what conditions animals need to grow and reproduce. This information helps scientists figure out which animals are thriving and which ones need human help to survive. Now that you've finished this lesson, if you wish, you can go back and review any part of the lesson again.
Thank you, my dear students. And I hope you understand this one. You can now answer the homework. It's page 146. Sum it up. If you face any problem, you can call me anytime. Thank you and see you later. Goodbye.